think that we should have council file for some form of injunctive relief with the Circuit Court of Maryland for Montgomery County. Now, what this would accomplish would be, it would enjoin the Board of Directors from moving forward until such time as a referendum has been conducted and completed and evaluated. I think that's probably our best short-term solution. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Victoria Lucas, and I'm a resident of Mutual 19A. I am so opposed to this building, but I have some really basic questions. The administration building is going to house how many staff members?
At this point, I think it's down to about 220.
Really, that many? That surprises me.
Well, no, wait a minute. They're not going to be housed there. I'm sorry. That's the total number of staff.
Who's going to be housed in the administration building?
Good question. I mean, I guess we'd have to pay for that answer, too.
Okay, I'm just going to ask for a really quick show of hands. How many of you go in the administration building on some business, not as a cut-through on a rainy day, once a month?
Once a month? At least once a month.
That's actually more than I thought. How many of you go once a year? And then you have to take off work in order to go according to the administration's timeline.
Okay, so
Wait,
The question is
it because of the bank? Is it because of the bank? Or the post office?
post office, yeah.
Okay, sounds like it's the post office. Not the bookkeeping. Okay. My next question is, what's the resale money supposed to be used for?
improve,
Enhancements.
What's the third term? It's improve, enhance, and there's a third one. And now,
Spend the money.
huh? And spend
Spend the
money.
money.
So improve and enhance for the residents.
No, it's for they trust. Keep in mind, the residents don't have any part in this. That's the way this system of governance is set up. We have no voice. You can come to an open forum, you can come to a board of directors meeting or any advisor of the multitudes of advisory committee meetings, and you can have your 2 minutes in open forum, and it's thank you next. You have no voice. Why? Because the majority of people, this is an astounding turnout, the majority of people don't come forward and make themselves known. We're here to raise you up and get you to the point where you want to make yourself known. There is a majority of this community opposed to this construction. They want to hear, why can't you renovate the building? Why won't you renovate the building? Why won't you conduct a study? Why won't you let us have a say in whether or not we want this? Do the study first, and then come to us with the results. Have an unbiased outside engineering firm conduct that study, not street sense.
Yes. Street sense.
So, a follow-up question to this, and then I will relinquish the mic. If it is for the benefit of the trust, who does the trust benefit?
It's supposed to be the benefit of the community and the residents within the community.
So in an indirect way, us.
In an indirect way.
Us.
And if you're asking, well, how will a $5.2+ million building benefit us? The answer to that is that the employees will be happier, they'll have more space to work in. There's no question that they need to renovate and refit that building to accommodate the workers in there. We're not disputing that. We want the money spent to do that. But not a new building. Not until you can prove to this community that there's no other alternative. But you can't prove that if you don't do an engineering study.
Next person.
Yes, it's the Leisure World Trust. So let's go to,
Yes.
okay. Oh, you mean the individual? Okay. It's the Leisure World Community Corporation with the trustees. The Leisure World Community Corporation Board of Directors. Okay.
My name,
But not our names.
my name is Louis Paley. Just this month, I've lived here now with my wife for 5 years in Vantage Point West. And I worked for 37 years at the Environmental Protection Agency, and I have not heard one word nor seen anything in writing about the inevitable, in old buildings, inevitable asbestos, which was used to construct it. There are federal and state rules about that. It's a very expensive proposition. So, I wonder about just how much it will be to either renovate it or demolish it. But that's something that has to be done, and that's another reason why you need an engineering evaluation. You can't just bring a magic wand and say, well, this piece of dirt over here, we're gonna make that into a parking lot, which is the ultimate end of that plan that they have. The second thing is, I used to be in the construction part of EPA, and never, even in the federal government, which everyone says is so bureaucratic, never in their right mind would they ever build something of this magnitude, this amount of money, when we have $1 trillion economy, not whatever we have here, a few $1 million, would we go and spend whatever the number is? I think it's going to be at least 10 million before they find any problems like, the ground won't hold it up, so we're going to have to bring in more trucks. I live and see the construction of the exercise area. I literally look over that spot. Talk about dust and noise for a little teeny building. So imagine what it's going to be, the noise and the years of construction and the rats and the mice that will come, because that's what happens when you dig up the ground. They have to relocate. Is that included in their construction plan?
Hi, my name is Karen Ventola. I'm in Neutral 12. I went to a meeting a couple of years ago, and they talked about this project, and at the time, it was the architect and the builders together, and they had come up with a number of 10.1 million or whatever. And I went to the meeting. I'm a retired asset liability manager for a bank, so I did loans and investments, construction, whatever. Anyway, the number that they're quoting is so off. It's amazing to me. Amazing to me. What would I want to see? I used to go to sites. I used to go to see what are you doing. Even did floor planning for, car dealerships. You name it, I've done it in banking. I come here and I'm like, what? 7.2 million? That's a shell. That's the beginning. The beginning of what? Where do we go from there? I asked at that meeting, what's included? I'm asking here, if 7.2 million is the number quoted, I want to know what's being left out. I want to know what's not in it. I want to know about the office furniture. I want to know about what you're going to plant. I want to know about what you're doing with everything else. I even want to know how much you're going to spend to do the stripes of paint on the parking lot, because that's the way it's really done.
You might have to pay for it.
I want to know how much all of this is. The other thing I'll say is that at that meeting, if we have the same builder, I did look them up, of course, and they have been sued by Metro because they did some projects. If they're the same one from back then, that's something else. The other thing I asked them, I said, excuse me, are you going to be a dedicated builder? I had that kind of dumb. are you gonna be a dedicated builder? And the guy looked at me and goes, no. I said, really? Why? He said, we only do dedicated builders if it's 20 million or less, or more. 20 million or more. What does that mean? That means we're gonna be inundated with subcontractors. If anybody knows what it's like to build a project of this size using subcontractors all over the place, oh my God, okay? I've used subcontractors. I even had a store built, I used subcontractors. I even fired subcontractors, okay? Who's gonna oversee if this thing goes through? Who's gonna oversee the delivery? Who's gonna oversee that?
Karen, that question was asked at the preliminary site plan. There's no overseer.
Well, let me tell you, when there's nobody overseeing it, it becomes a candy store.
Right, absolutely. I want to say two things back in response to you. First of all, to Lou, the asbestos situation. It's never been determined. It's assumed that there is asbestos as in this building, because this building is the same age. I wonder why they're not tearing this down. They spent over $650,000 to renovate this room. $650,000. Okay, so there's asbestos in both buildings. Same age. They did the floor. I mean, they renovated this room. If there is asbestos, OSHA has standards. State of Maryland, Montgomery County has standards that must be followed. It's not a problem. It will be taken care of and remediated in a way that is federally ordained. Number two, the parking lot that they intend with tearing down the current building and building the new building, redoing the current administration parking lot for a grand total, ready for this? 18 additional spaces, because it was announced at the preliminary site plan meeting that the reason for this had nothing to do with the necessity for space for staff, which was a total lie, because that was the whole premise when it was first introduced to this community. But as of March, it changed. And the whole premise was for space. But according to a member of the Leisure World Executive Committee, it's to gain parking places. Well, the grand total after they destroy the building and make that into a parking lot, additional spaces, 18. 5 of which are dedicated to the new credit union institution for their employees.
How much?
Okay?
How much? You know how much it was?
How much what?
How much that was? I mean,
No, we can't get a breakdown unless I pay
well, to
for it.
me, not to have a breakdown is, to me, it just scratches the whole thing.
Absolutely. Transparency does not exist. Welcome to Leisure World.
It's not about, and the other question I have, whoever the lawyer is, does anybody, as far as our board or our, what do you call it, management company, have a fiduciary responsibility
Of course they do. That's
to
part of the
us?
law.
And how does that affect it if it becomes a total mess?
But of course you're going to come to the next town hall addressing governance and management, right? And what we can do about that. Paul, no.
Good luck to all of us.
Hold on a minute. This gentleman, okay? Let me hear from him.
My name is Bahram Baranian. I live in Greens number 2.
There you go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. My name is Bahram Baranian. I live in Greens 2 in Leisure World, and I'm all for repeal and replace. And I'm not talking about Obamacare, excuse me. I'm talking about the new administration building. First of all, this new administration building, I'm not sure how long it's been standing, maybe 35.
You're talking about the current building, it's 50 years.
50 years
The same as the one you're standing in.
It has served the community very well, and it seems to be in a pretty good condition. I don't see any justification for either total demolition or, expansion. We are restricted by the county, by Montgomery County, in terms of putting additional buildings into the community. So people are not expanding it. They're not putting more units here. So the administration up to now has been quite adequate, and there's no necessity for its expansion. Maybe it needs a little bit of touch-up, but no more than that. Furthermore, I would like to remind you that in Greens 2, where I live, I know that 1/3 of our condominium fees goes directly to the Leisure World Corporation pocket.
$167.50 to be raised.
Yes, so there's a lot of money goes there and goes from our pockets. And I'm looking at our buildings. Okay, originally there were some solid, good buildings were put in this place. Our building is 32 years old. But when I moved here 6 years ago, I noticed that the windows are in pretty shabby condition. They're leaking badly. In winter it's cold, in summer it's hot because air coming through. Some of the windows I cannot even open anymore because they're stuck.
Let me address that for you. Of course, that's a mutual issue. What you're saying is use some of these resale funds to assist the mutuals.
I'm just trying to explain what is happening in our building.
Yes.
These are the problems, and they promised that everything has been budgeted, and they're going to put new windows. Nothing happened. For 6 years I've been here. Now I notice the drains for the sewer in our building. They run the entire length of the building. They're dripping into the wall.
You understand that this, and this is what you would hear if you came before the Leisure World Board of Directors, this is a mutual issue.
Yeah, but I know the mutual issue. But the mutual is giving 1/3 of its money directly to the corporation.
Correct, for the trust.
What I'm trying to say is that now the gap is rising to about 3 feet, and this black mold is growing all over the body. Black mold causes spores, which is very bad for.
What would you like to see done?
I would like to see some of this money, instead of going to the corporation, which we don't, to the administration building, which we do not need, to spend on improving the health of our mutual.
Okay, so
You're telling me that we have no voice, and I'm opposed to that. We do have a voice. If everybody here stop paying their condo fees, maybe we do have a voice.
make sure that you put it in an escrow account with the Circuit Court of Maryland when you do that. Hold a minute, Paul.
I'm hearing a lot of people here say that you're against the building of the new administration building. Can I ask for a show of hands, how many feel that way? Okay, hands down. How many of the people who just raised your hands have called your representative on the board of directors to tell them that? How many have called over and over again to tell them that? My understanding is that there are 3 members of the board of directors in the room. 2 of them are opposed to the new administration building. 1 is strongly in favor. If you called over and over again to your board member, don't you think one of 2 things would happen? Either they would change their vote or they'd quit. And someone else would get in there who might vote the way you want. That's the way you get things done in a democracy. You contact your representative over and over again. Now, someone said that would be making a pest of yourself. That's what democracy is. You contact your representative over and over again to give your views, and maybe they'll change their minds, maybe they'll quit, and then you get somebody new. All these ideas that I've heard won't work.
Well,
if you go to the circuit court will tell you the business, I always forget the second word. There's a philosophy that the courts use. If there's any reason that the board of directors voted in favor of a new building, the court will support them. If you have a petition, I believe that the planning board doesn't have the authority, the legal authority, to do anything about your petition. The way to get this changed is get on the phone. Find out who your representative is on the board. Most of you get monthly bulletins. It'll tell you. If it doesn't tell you, you call Leisure World and say, who's my representative on the board, and what is his or her phone number, and call. Call again. Call again. until they change their mind or say, I quit. That's the way you're going to get this change.
Paul is a proponent of the nudge factor. And I disagree with you, Paul. I mean, I think that calling and nudging the surrogates is a great idea. But they have to then present a motion back on the board of directors to revisit what they've already decided. So in the meantime, rather than, or in addition to that, Park and Planning is very open to, yes they are. I've had communication with their chief counsel, with their lead planner. They are inviting, they want to hear citizen input. Call them, nudge them, trust me, it'll work.
My name is Fred Shapiro, and what I'm going to say comes from experience as chair of the E&R when we did the Clubhouse 2 and the mismanagement of that building, vice chair of the board, and I can tell you quite frankly, the only thing that can help us is something that you demonstrated today. People in Leisure World do not speak up, they do not get involved. You belongs to a mutual. We have, and as vice chair of the board, I can tell you that most of the people on the board of directors are there either for ego or nobody else wanted it, and they put them there. And whatever Kevin Flannery says, they go along with. As a management consultant, I can tell you, I rate management here on a scale of 0 to 10 as a 1, because there is no planning. To give you a good idea of where cost comes in, when they did Clubhouse 2, whoever had the brains, they put bricks around the columns, and you couldn't get into the fitness center if you had a wheelchair or